Hi everybody, thank you so much for tuning into my channel today to go over how to create an interactive whiteboard using Pear Deck. So Pear Deck is an interactive tool. It's great for engagement in the classroom. This video is specifically going to talk about how to go from the old school whiteboards that we use in the classroom, which as a math teacher I love, quick check-in, formative assessment, to moving that transition to online, especially since a lot of us are going to be on the computer for at least a good start to the school year. So I'm going to go over a couple of things on Pear Deck. If you are interested in learning more about Pear Deck, they had a professional development yesterday, which was the 10th of August, and I will link their PD in my description. But this is just going to talk about how to use it as an interactive whiteboard tool. So I'm going to talk about how to first set it up in Google Slides, get the add-on for Pear Deck if you don't already have it, how to see the teacher view, including a very important teacher dashboard, the student view as well, how to provide feedback using the teacher dashboard, and then how to present student responses during a lesson. So if you wanted to say like, oh, you know, this one student did awesome, I want to share their screen, we could actually present that to the whole class. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. And at the end of this video, I'm going to talk about how to set this up because it's a lot of screens. And it's best to probably have at least two monitors, whether it's a laptop monitor, two monitors. And it can even be great if you have two monitors and a tablet, which seems a lot, but we'll talk about how to look at that in a minute. Okay, so just a heads up, first place we're going to start is just going to Google Classroom. So we're going to, Google Drive, and we're going to go ahead and make a new Google slide. So I'm going to type in, I usually just type in slide.new. I'm going to go ahead and grab this like title slide. This is the slide the students will see as soon as they log into Pear Deck. So it might be nice to have like a welcoming message for them and maybe a couple reminders. And then from there, you can go down to add-ons and either you have the Pear Deck, or if you don't have the Pear Deck already, you can go in here to get add-ons, type in Pear Deck, and it'll show up here. Obviously I have mine installed, so that's it. All right, so now we're actually going to make, it's probably a good idea to title your thing as well. So we're going to go ahead and add on the whiteboard slides. So I'm going to go to add-ons and I'm going to open up Pear Deck add-on. And what you can do in here is a lot of stuff. So again, if you're more interested in all the other stuff Pear Deck does, I definitely recommend looking at their website. Or their YouTube channel has a ton of information on it, but you can do all kinds of things to make your slides interactive. I'm going to go to here where it says template library, and then I'm going to scroll down to where it says math. The template library has things that are already made for you and fully editable. So you can edit any of the questions, any of the whatever you want within the slide, and that will show up on the student screen. Okay. So from here, I'm going to scroll down. There's so many options, multiple choice, which one doesn't belong, a lot of good math stuff for good discussion, number line, graphing, why, where they could be typing in things. But for this video, I'm going to be strictly talking about the interactive whiteboard. So I'm going to be using their interactive whiteboard, which looks like this. And again, you could have anything you want. You can edit any of this stuff, the color, whatever you want. The only thing you don't want to edit is down here, because this is going to be a draw slide, so students will be able to draw on it. So I'm going to type in just like a simple math problem. And then I'm going to go ahead and add one more slide. Typically, when I used to do whiteboards like in the classroom, I'd make like a list of all the questions I wanted to ask, specifically looking for specific objectives, targets, whatever. You know how it is. Like we know we want to test this question, this question, this question. So you would just type in, and it's kind of nice because it saves it for you, and you don't have to do, oh, math people. You don't have to do like a lot of like regurgitating or looking for that paper that I used to misplace constantly. So now it's all in the same place. All right, so we're going to graph. We can do a graph too where students are drawing on the grid. It's just like I would just want to show that as well as this one. All right, so once you got all your questions in there, typically I'd have more. We're going to go ahead and start the lesson. If you by chance made this ahead of time, like you know we're supposed to, we can go to, you would just, once you opened up the Google Slides, you would just go back into open add-on, and then we're going to go ahead and start the lesson. And there's two ways that you can start a lesson. You can start it student paced, and this would be great for asynchronous. So if you wanted to assign a student a Pear Deck to work on, and then you can go back and look at them later, that would be this pace. But for your live instruction classes, your synchronous classes, we're going to pick instructor paced. And that way I control the speed of the presentation. So from here, it works a lot like when you do Desmos or a lot of other online activities. You can have students click on this, join PD, and then they would type this in. Or you can have, okay, so you want to click on give students link. And this is awesome because then I like to just drop that link right in the chat box during our live classes. So I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. I'm going to log in as a student on 2 separate screens and show you that. And then we're going to take a look at the teacher dashboard. Okay, so I went ahead and logged in on both this tab here. So this is like student 1. And then I also logged in on my iPad, which I'll show you later. Okay, so I have 2 presentations going at the same time. I'm going to go ahead and start the class. And once I'm in here, everyone's looking at this screen. You can use the little arrow button over here. Hopefully I can hit it. There we go. And so that would take you, this is like the teacher presentation screen. So this is a screen where the teacher is presenting. And if I go to my student slide, you'll see that this is what the slide looks like to our students. So let's say I'm a student in the classroom and I'm going to go ahead and answer this question. I can use these tools all down here. And I can clear it. The pencil is like very large. It's like too wide all the time. So they can pick different colors and they can write with, this is me writing with my mouse. I'm not great at it. I am thinking about asking students this year to possibly get these little, if they don't have a tablet, to get these little writing tablets that you can plug in. They go through a USB cord. I'll post that link for this one. It's pretty small. I think it was $30. But basically it comes with like a pen and it connects just to your USB and it basically takes over your mouse. So if I'm like writing with this, it's a lot easier. It looks better. So just something to consider. And at first it's like a little tricky, but it's really easy to use. So like I said, it's not too expensive. I think it's like $30. Okay, so then maybe they finished solving and they got x is equal to 3. All right, so that would be like my student A version. If I'm using the iPad, I'm just going to turn my iPad on the screen. If I'm using my iPad, then it would look like this. And I like how I could see all of my stuff. Instapot chicken, rethink something. Okay, so coleslaw, important things. So you could actually use your iPad and you could do the same thing. It's all touch screen, so they have a stylus, great. I have an Apple Pencil. This is just my finger though. It looks pretty good. It looks like, it looks okay. All right, let me go ahead and turn that off. Okay, so those are some options. That's what the student board looks like. Once you're finished, you can, or as the teacher, I should say, you can show responses in a couple of ways. So this is showing each student, and this is, again, this is the presentation. I'm going to show you the teacher dashboard in a second. That's like amazing. You can do a grid layout, so you can see a lot of stuff at one time. The overlaid layout, it's really good if you're graphing like lines or something, but for this problem, it basically just dumps all of the slides onto one slide. So I like this layout personally, but this is the presentation mode. So while students are working on this, you can actually look at there we go. You can actually look at what they're writing at the same time. So if you have, and you can either, if you click here on the 3 dots, if I open dashboard, a new window. And so I would recommend doing this maybe like if you were dual screening and not sharing this slide. I would continue if I was in Zoom or, whatever your virtual classroom is, you want to share this slide that's just blank. And this is something just for you to be looking at. So this is a teacher dashboard. And so there's like a lot of, again, you can kind of do the layout the same way. I really like this layout. What's nice is it tells you who each person is, right? What their mood is. So you would not want to share this screen because everyone's names are all over it. But let's say while they're working on it, you're like, oh my gosh, I noticed that that this student here isn't doing that great. So I can go ahead and send feedback to that student. Say, hey, don't forget to subtract on both sides. Okay. And so the way that that looks on the screen is it says right here, you have new feedback. So if I click on that, it says, don't forget that you're supposed to subtract on both sides. So you can tell students, hey, look out if I send you feedback on your slide. So that's really awesome tool because now you can send it without having to call out students in front of the whole class, which can be very helpful. You can also call kids, hey, don't forget, or like, explain how to do this or whatever. Okay. Then another cool feature is that like currently, if I'm looking at this slide and I go to show responses, it shows everyone's response. So let's say somebody did a great job solving the problem, like this first one. So I'm going to go to the teacher dashboard and I'm going to star the person who I want to show. And so whoever I star, maybe I want to star a couple people, anybody you want to show, you want to star. As soon as you star, it's not going to show everyone else's. And you even see it's like a shaded color over here. So if you don't star anyone, everyone's getting in that. When you go to hit show responses, everyone's slide showing up. But if I star this person, then it's only going to show in that teacher presentation mode what your kids are seeing. It's going to show this one. So it's really great because then you could say, hey, Anna, please explain how you solve this. And so they could come on and you could have like a discussion and then we're not looking at everybody. So it's just a different way to look at that. Okay. So let's see. The feedback was like really cool. So let me do the next one just to show you. I'm going to go ahead and move to the next slide. And so it's changing everywhere. And let's say that this person, I could even use my like tablet thing to graph it a little bit nicer. So let's say that they went up 1/2, common mistake that as a lot of students make, and then up 1/2. Okay, and so let's say that they graphed it like that, and then when they go to draw their line, okay, and then if I went to my other view and I did it correctly. Okay. And so, again, in that session, so I could be watching people live. Let me pull that up and then I can like edit it. You can see that it's live. So as I'm editing it, you can see like if they were to draw this, it's like live time. You can see that on the second one there. All right, so then again, you could pick things, you could send feedback to people. There's like you can like hide that. You can do a lot of stuff on here. So let's say that I wanted to say great job. And then it would pop up. If I want to say to the person here, so this would be something, again, this is that the teacher dashboard. I just want to make sure I'm being clear about this. This is something you probably want to have on that second monitor. And so let's see. So I could say, remember rise over run or something. Whatever you say. Okay. And then you could add more feedback. Like, so let's say that they went back and they changed their answer. So I'm going to go back to the student and they cleared it. And they say, oh my gosh, I have feedback. Oh, it says, remember, rise over run. Oh, okay, yeah, that's right. And so then I can hit mark as red, right? So that would tell the teacher that it's done it, but it doesn't. It's fine. And then what if I just erased everything and then I changed it, right? So that I went starting at 1 and then up 2/1. So then going back. And then you could send them back and say, hey, great job. That's awesome. I'm so happy. Or whatever kind of words you use. And so you could even tell them like good job, right? And so it's really cool. So play around with that. There's a lot of other stuff. You can add notes into your slides and they appear here. So if you have notes in your slides underneath, that's where they would show up on that part of it. And you can also just see who's in your class. So this is a good screen to look at when you're waiting for kids to log in. And you can see that whose kid you're looking at in that view as well. So making sure that all your kiddos are in the classroom and that everybody's ready. All right, so once everything's done and you're good, you can go ahead and hit end. If you had extra problems on here and you wanted kids to finish them, there is a way you can turn on student pace. If you want your, let's say you want your teacher dashboard on your iPad instead of having it on your computer, you could hit open in new device and it'll give you the code for doing that. So that way you're totally not worried about sharing the screen, that teacher view screen. So then you hit end session. And so you could save the title on it, or it doesn't matter, you don't have to. And that's it. And then it'll say you did a good job or whatever. How did it go? And good, hopefully. So let me just make sure I checked off everything. There's a lot of stuff. Like I said, I'll post that link in the chat. But thank you so much for watching. Pear Deck is awesome. I'm excited to use it with my kiddos this year and to get that real-time data, right? So important. I hope you guys have a great day. And thank you so much for watching.